Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make Chinese salt and pepper pork chop, and in Cantonese we call it jiu yin ju pa. When I was living back in New York City, this was my favorite dish. There were two powerhouse restaurants in New York City's Chinatown, Hap Lei and Hap Gay. And both of these restaurants are really popular with local tourists as well as foreign tourists, and it gets so busy that we rarely dine in these restaurants. And my salt and pepper pork chop recipe is inspired by both of these amazing restaurants. So we just go in, order takeout, and enjoy it at home. So jiu yin ju pa is very easy to do. Right here I have 300 grams of pork chop that is sliced into 2 pieces. This will be enough for 1 serving, so if you're eating for 2 or whatever, just double the recipe and it should be fine. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the ingredients for marinating this pork. First off, we need some Shaoxing wine, some pure sesame oil, some soy sauce, some cooking oil, and last is corn flour or cornstarch for the folks in USA. So the first thing to do is to just sort of try and take out most of the moisture that is on the pork, because this way it'll marinate better. Okay, that's done. Next up, I'm just gonna tenderize it a little bit, just with a knife. Just do it like this, just cut it down. Make sure you do the other side too. And I'm gonna cut it into about 4 strips. You don't want to cut a pork that is too lean. For example, you see there's like some fat here, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you right now, this is gonna be my favorite piece. And we do the same, just cut it into 4 pieces. And drop it into a bowl for a marinade. So this is going to be 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine, half a teaspoon of pure sesame oil, and 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. One more for good luck. And 2 teaspoons of just regular cooking oil. So I'm just gonna mix these up first. You really have to go in there and massage it. Don't be too gentle. You know the pork is gonna marinate well where you don't see a pool of seasoning on the bottom. So this is good. Now I'm gonna throw in my tablespoon of corn flour. Okay, this corn flour is just a pre-coating because I am going to be using corn flour to cover my pork chops to give it a really nice crispy outer crust, so when you bite into it you're going to hear a really loud crunch. So this tablespoon of corn flour is just a pre-coating. It is just to help protect the moisture of the pork during frying. Okay, all right, that's it. So I marinate this in the fridge for about 10 minutes tops. And then next up, I have some fresh ingredients that will flavor my salt and pepper pork chop. Right here, I have half a spur chili that I cut into like sort of like 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch chunks. And then I have here garlic, 1 whole garlic clove that I just crushed and sliced like that. These I'm gonna fry in oil and then place it and then mix it along with the salt and pepper pork chops. And then here I have garnish. I have one medium-sized Thai chili, and then these are the smaller ones. So the rule of thumb is the smaller the chili is, the spicier it will be. These are so spicy that when you eat these, your next generation, they're gonna feel it. So just cut a medium-sized one and 2 little small ones. Or if you're really afraid of spiciness, just use 2 of these slightly larger ones for a garnish. And then another garnish I have is just half a stalk of spring onions. Cut to like that size. Whoops. Okay. All right, now for the all-important salt and pepper seasoning. I need half a teaspoon of salt and about half a teaspoon of ground white pepper. And also want to add a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. And just give it a mix. The reason why I'm putting these seasoning ingredients into a bowl this big is because after I finish frying my pork chops, I'm going to immediately drop it into this bowl and just mix all the ingredients together so that all my fried pork chops get a really good covering of salt and pepper. It is very important to season your fried ingredients as soon as you can. Okay, so my pork chops are finished marinating. So right now, it's time to coat it with corn flour. And I'm going to use half a cup of corn flour. A substitute for corn flour is potato starch or tapioca starch. It's going to look like a lot of corn flour, but trust me, if you want a really nice crispy restaurant texture, you have to add a lot of corn flour. There's just no way around it. You have to do it. Okay, so now that that's done, it's time to heat up the oil. Okay, so one thing that people ask me about frying is how do you know that the oil is ready? Well, we need to heat the oil to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you don't have a kitchen thermometer, no problem. I'm gonna show you a really quick, easy way to tell if your oil is hot enough for frying. Okay, so one way to tell that your oil is hot enough for frying is you get a wooden chopstick like this and you stick it down the center. And if it immediately fizzes like that, like you open up a soda can, you know it's ready for frying. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fry my large spur chili as well as my little garlic. That's it. As you can see, it's really fast. You don't want to burn your garlic or your chilies. Okay, and now it's time for the pork. Just shake off as much excess corn flour as you can. I'm gonna fry these in batches, about 4 pieces. Because there's not a lot of pieces, I'm gonna let this fry for about 3 to 4 minutes. And here's my salt and pepper mixture ready. I'm just gonna set everything aside like that. Just push everything aside. All right, it's about 3 minutes. I'm gonna take these out. And I'm gonna drop it directly into my seasoning bowl. Look at that. Nice and crispy. Oh! That's the dangers of making a cooking channel. All right, time to fry up my last batch. Shake off the excess. Okay, that's about 3 minutes. I'm gonna switch off the heat. Drop my pork. Now you notice that it's slightly oily. I didn't even use a paper towel or a wire rack to drain the oil. The reason why is in Hapley and Hapgay, the restaurants I talked about in New York City, they're greasy. Well, not really greasy, but just slightly greasy. And I want to retain that little, little detail. So I'm gonna leave mine just a little bit greasy. because it's time to start mixing. Oh, that was close. All right, looking good. Drop in your large chili and your garlic chips. Put in my fresh chili and do the same. Slide it around. All right. Oh, it smells so good. This smells so good. Can you hear the crunchiness, man? Check that out. The residual heat from the pork chops has cooked the fresh chili slightly, and it just smells so good. Break out some of your spring onion. Oh, look at that. Check that out. Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna do something a little bit unorthodox. Whenever I get a chance to add some lime, depending on what I eat, especially fried foods. So ever since I started making these in Thailand, I always add a bit of lime juice. All right. Screw the chopstick. Gonna use my hand. There it is. Can you hear crunchiness? It's salty, peppery, got some spiciness from the chili, and the fried garlic taste. And if you never tried this with fresh lime on it, do try it. Trust me, it works. So there you go, everyone. This is my super crispy Chinese salt and pepper pork chops.